to episode 2 of our Spirit Rebels podcast. We have another episode of magic and excitement. I'm not sure about excitement, but magic,
It's excitement for
inspiration.
us.
It is. It is indeed. It is indeed. Our second episode of our magical podcast is all about spirituality in everyday life and how we can, or the importance of keeping ourselves well on all levels in this crazy crackers world of ours. How are you feeling, Helen, in our crazy crackers world?
Oh gosh, I am feeling under pressure at the moment in this crazy world with so many different things, work, study, just normal life. So I think this episode will be really good for me personally to talk about, different things we can do to just keep our vibrations high, particularly when lots of things are flying at us, and I'm certainly have got plates spinning and things flying at me at the moment. So yeah, it does feel a little bit challenging, but I'm still happy.
You say all that, and I know what's going on in your life, and yet your face is still like beaming and everything's great.
You've got to smile in life. You've got to keep smiling.
Well, otherwise you'll just crumble into a little pile and shake and cry, won't you? I
Absolutely.
think, we have so much pressure on us, and I think we end up in a situation where we are living these lives, and I guess the best thing I could say that would highlight this is that, I hear so many people saying things like, oh, well, I was going to do my meditation, or I was going to do, my Reiki or whatever, but then life got in the way. And I think, I say that phrase all the time, but when you stop and think about it, so there was stuff you wanted to do, but then life got in the way. Well, does that not mean actually your life isn't exactly running the way that it should be running? If your life is getting in the way of you being happy, think about the meaning of that phrase. It's a bit like, oh, what's going on here? You're actually filling your life with stuff that isn't making you very happy, and it's stopping you from being the person you want to be.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. Apart from when it comes to cleaning, I'm very happy for other things to come in and distract me at that point, so I don't have to do that. Life can get in
Absolutely.
the way at that point.
Oh, anything could get in the way at that point. Absolutely. I'm in full agreement
But
with
no,
you
I
on that one.
absolutely agree with you, actually, Shelley. And I think that's why it's really good to talk about it today, because I'm sure other people listening will feel exactly the same as us. Very busy lives, lots of clashing priorities. So, have we got any top tips, I guess, to sort of keep our lives happy and kind of centered?
Yeah, centered's a good word, isn't it? I mean, if we think about what that actually means, to be centered or to be grounded, it's about being in the moment, isn't it? And I think to be centered for me is thinking about your energy. And so when we have lots of stuff going on, maybe thinking about you've got the kids, you've maybe got work, you've got the house to sort out, you've got other studies and stuff that you're doing outside of work, you've got stuff that you actually want to do for yourself, you might have responsibilities in terms of, taking care of someone else that doesn't live with you, or like a parent, or having to see friends. There's lots of stuff going on. And that idea of being centered, I suppose, is about bringing all your energy back into one place, because when we've got so much that is demanding our thinking space, if you like, every single one of those things that we think about, we're feeding with energy. So I kind of see it like a big swarm of bees. You've got all fireworks going off everywhere. Everything that you have to think about needs fuel, and every time you think
Mm.
about it, you are giving energy to that thing. So you're giving energy to work, and within work you've maybe got 10 different projects or 10 different situations or things that you're dealing with. So that's all another little bit of the swarm of bees, and then there's the house, and then there's this, then there's that. So you've got bees literally flying everywhere rather than being in one centered little hive. So, and I am a very visual person, so I always see these things in like a picture. So I guess to be centered is to bring all your bees back to the hive and let them just crack on in their merry little ways to rest
Mm.
and curl up in their little beehivey, honeycomby things and have some sleep, and, just be comfortable at home rather than having 400 different streams of bees flying out everywhere. But it's easier said than done, because Well, I think we're our own worst enemy when it comes to pressure, because we take all the shoulds and musts. I think we touched on this last time a little bit. Our houses should be immaculate, and we
Mm.
should be able to work from 6 in the morning until like 11 o'clock at night without getting tired. We shouldn't need a rest. We should be superheroes. We should be Wonder Women and Supermen. And, why is it to stop and take a rest, or actually give yourself a little bit of self-care? That stuff is just pushed to the back of the queue, isn't it? Because we just take all these other responsibilities on, and 9 times out of 10 it's no one else who is putting that pressure on ourselves apart from us. We're the ones who do it. I should have done that. I should have got that done first time. I should have done that. And that's what makes us feel like we're failing, because we're all, drowning in the shoulds and the musts of the world.
I totally agree. But how do we break that cycle? Because I think we all do that. We all have these conflicting pressures. And also, we all have, well, I know for all of my friends, I'm not saying everybody out there, but I think we all have quite high standards for how we want to present ourselves, how we want to present our homes, how we want to live up to our own expectations, but also the expectations we think that others place on us, which ultimately they probably don't,
Yeah.
but it's in our heads. So I suppose for me, the challenge is, well, how do we actually do that? Because for me at the moment, I think I'm just permanently exhausted. I literally go to bed. I'm not physically, I'm putting on weight because I don't actually move that much, because all my jobs, day job, then I'm studying, sat down, sorry, then I'm studying. And then, so, I'm doing a lot of sitting down, but mentally, my brain is running marathons and I am just mentally exhausted. So, and it's now starting to take a toll, I think, on just my health. Like I've been a bit run down with a chesty thing. So for me, and I'm sure possibly others out there, what are things we can do to try and um, get some balance back?
Yeah, good question. I think ultimately, and no one ever wants to hear this, because I think everyone's wanting that magic solution, and to say, well, this is
Mm,
how you can have 5 extra hours in your day. But it's about choice. It's about choice, and it's practicing that belief that actually the self-care bit is important. It's about practicing the beliefs that, your needs and your own wants are important. It's about reprioritizing a little bit. I think meditation fixes everything. I really do. 10 minutes minimum every day would have you being a different person. You're so much more productive if you start your day with a little bit of meditation or healing. But we see it as being counterproductive. I'm so busy, so I can't take that time to go
mm,
and meditate, to just, and even if you're not meditating, even if you're just having a bath or reading a book or sitting under a tree and just having 10 minutes just peace within nature, whatever it might be. We look at that time as, well, it's not productive, I'm not achieving anything, so therefore it is not important. So what we need to do really is swizzle our brains into believing that actually that stuff is really important. I had a
mm,
conversation with a client just the other day, and it was great, because I mean, she was laughing about it, but it applies to this situation so much, because she was in exactly the same position as you. I was doing one of my alchemy sessions with, oh no, it was a reading. And she was saying that, she gets up, she goes to work, and she comes home, and she's trying to run a business as well. And by the time she gets home, she has absolutely no energy left for the stuff that she wants to do for her, because she feels completely drained. She's frustrated, she's annoyed. That then makes her feel even worse, because she should be getting on and doing the stuff for her
yeah.
own business. She can't give any more energy because it's just physically not there. So she feels like she's, as you say, running on a deficit all the time, being
Mm,
tired, it's affecting your health. And we talked about spoons. Now, I don't know if, again, we mentioned this last week. I talk about this stuff a lot, but I kind of view our energy as being measurable in spoons. Okay. So if we were to wake up on a morning, because your spoons reset from a good night's sleep. So if we were to wake up on a morning and we are given, say, 50 spoons of energy a day, okay? Now,
mm-hmm,
on a good day, you would get up, you'd maybe use, say, 5 spoons just to get ready, to get the kids out the house, all that sort of stuff. So we're down to 45 now. Then you get to work, and maybe your day job takes, it could take 10 if it's, not so bad. If it's a challenging day, you could even use up to 30 spoons. Now I'm no good with maths, so I'm going to totally run out of spoons here. But you get you get the picture. So you use spoons to get ready, you use your spoons to do your day job. So then when you get home, this the time that you have for yourself, it might take 10 spoons to do a bit of your study work that you're doing. It might, you might need spoons to get the kids fed, to make tea takes spoons. And the fewer spoons you have, it feels like they've run out much quicker because, that energy is just not there. And that's on a good day. So you literally run out of spoons before you've even, had your tea. Um, but the majority of us, and I guess this is a little bit about living in what I would class as survival mode, that, constantly on the alert. I've got to get this done. I've got to get this done. What's next? What's next? What's next? We don't start with our full quota of spoons anyway, because perhaps we haven't slept well the night before, so we haven't really recharged. We start to worry about the stuff that happened yesterday. So we're actually feeding yesterday with today's spoons. We're worried about what's coming tomorrow or the week after. So we've given spoons away for stuff that's not even relevant for today. So we might be getting out of bed and we're meant to have an allocation of 50 spoons, but actually, when we get out of bed and head downstairs, we're already down to 40 or, 35. So how on earth are we supposed to not feel exhausted when all of these spoons are being spent left, right, and centre? And it comes down, as I said before, to a choice and awareness, and looking at it like, spoons. I think it's really helpful. So you could look at a job that needs done, and you could literally ask yourself, is this worth my spoons today? Do I need to give spoons to something else that is more important? You can even start your day by, and again, just because you're doing it like, in your head and visualizing something doesn't mean it's any less real. So you could take a little bundle of 5 spoons, tie them up in a nice purple ribbon and put them somewhere, like in the back of your shoulder or behind your knee, hide them somewhere in your body. Um, and you know that those spoons are there so that when you get home, you don't spend them through the day. When you get home, you can unwrap your ribbon and, oh, look, I have 5 spoons to spend on myself. This is really nice. It feels good. Um, but we can charge up our spoons, and we don't have to just start our day with the spoons that we are given. By doing something like meditation, and even if it's just so gentle, just putting your hands on your tummy and just taking 3 deep breaths, we then open the doors to more spoons coming in. So we charge our spoons. So we might be, we might have meant to have started the day with 50 spoons, but if you do 10 or 15 minutes meditation in the morning, you could bump that up. So you're actually starting the day with 60 spoons, so that by the time you hit 7 o'clock that night, you've still got spoons left to spend on doing the things that you want to do. And I love thinking about it that way, because it makes it really like real for me.
Mm.
And then doing things for yourself, whether it's, I don't know, for me, it would be sitting and having half an hour with my book, or, whatever it is for whoever's listening. That also recharges your spoons. When you take yourself out of a stressy situation, and let your mind like dip down from those really high beta stressy brain waves, you start to just recoup a couple of spoons. You could even do like little, I don't know, visual exercises in your mind where you take 3 breaths and then ask. Might be the angels, it might be the universe, ascended masters, it could be your, great great grandma, whoever. Ask for some more spoons, and then see, feel, or sense like an angel turning up with a little gift box, and inside's like 5 spoons just for you. And again, people would say, well, you're just playing little stories through your head. But I honestly believe that whatever we think becomes a reality. So if you want more spoons and you create them in your mind, you're going to get them, and they will equate to your energy levels. But I would love to be able to say, oh, well, if you do this or take this extract or, whatever, it's going to fix the situation. But ultimately, we are living lives. Everything we do is a choice. Everything we do is a choice. And I think coming back to asking yourself, why am I doing these things that I'm doing that's stressing me out? And a lot of us feel stuck, like we don't have a choice, but there is always a choice. And we might not like the alternative, but we've got to remind ourselves, well, actually, I chose to do this. I chose to live in my own home, and therefore, I'm making the decision. I want to keep it clean, or I chose to be there for a friend. So if you're starting to feel a bit like, oh God, I can't do this, I'm too busy, ask yourself, why are you doing it? Who do you want to be, and why are you doing these things? Does that make sense?
It does make sense. I love the way you look at life, Shelley. I do.
Got in spoons.
Well, spoons, bees. I mean, I just love it because I'm not visual like you, so doesn't equate the same way in my brain. But I absolutely love it, and no, I hear what you're saying, and I think it's just taking that time. But it's also, I think the key thing is choice, and I think that's what we have to remember. And I certainly, when it comes to this blimmin' study at the moment, I know that it is for the greater good for me, and it's going to be 12 months of sheer pain. But I actually turned around to my mum the other day and said, I don't know what I'm going to do in 12 months when I haven't got this study. It's taken up so much of my life. And as much as I'm hating every second of it, I am getting some knowledge and growth from it. I said, what am I going to do? And it's really weird now. My brain's starting to shift to suddenly, and well, not suddenly, but in 12 months' time, that's going to be gone. So, how are you going to feel when that happens? So, it's really weird how we work as humans, because as much as something I absolutely detest, I'm already thinking, oh, it's got an end date. I'm not always going to have it. So, what's going to happen then? So, it is funny. But yeah, I very much like the spoon idea. And I promised after the last episode I'd do some meditation. And I've got to be honest with you, I haven't. I found a guilty pleasure TV program to watch, which I'm really behind the times on. I'm watching SWAT, that American LAPD SWAT. My bad American accent. So when I do get half an hour downtime, I want to watch a bit of this action thriller, not thriller, action program,
Yeah.
So, but I think you're right. It's that choice, isn't it? So I've picked to sit and watch that, say, rather than get my lazy ass up and clean that bathroom. So today I have set a goal that the bathroom has to be cleaned. And I know when it's done, I will feel so much better. So I think it's about priorities. I think you're right. We need to give ourselves some time. And I like the idea of the spoon thing and picturing it like that. Because that's a really good way of, I suppose, in our mind's eye, seeing how we're using up that energy. So I'm going to try that. I will report back on the spoons.
Something on a little bit more of a practical level. I will talk through this entire podcast about Abraham Hicks, because just they've been the biggest law of attraction teacher for me, like ever, ever, ever. I love them. But something that they recommend that people do is a positive aspects list, which is basically where you get, I mean, I have a notebook literally just for positive aspects lists. And anyone who likes a list, well, this is bang on for you. So you start off with blank sheet of paper, put a title at the top, and you could do it as like a thought cloud thingy, or whatever you call them. Put your title at the top. So say, for example, your study, right? You would just write that, like, your study course at the top as a title. And then your challenge is to find as much as you can in terms of positive thoughts about your study course. So instantly your brain jumps to, it takes up lots of time, it's hard, I'm struggling to get the marks that I want, all sorts of stuff. I don't get to see my kid as much as I'd like to, blah, 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 blah. I'm tired. But you've got to kind of go, okay, that stuff's all still there, but we're just going to put it on the shelf for now, and we're going to write a list of actually what is good about this study course. So as you've just said, well, it's not forever for a start. It's gonna last another 12 months. This time next year, I won't be doing it anymore. I've learned stuff. What have I've learned this, I've learned that. It's all gonna open doors for my career. It's really interesting. It's showing me that I am capable of taking my brain to this level. I get to buy new pens and stationery, which is always a plus point, really.
Do you know what one of the best things is? There's we're in cohorts, but there's two girls I've particularly got close to on my cohort, and we all live in different parts of the country, but we're going to meet up later this year, and I really know I will stay in contact with these two girls as well following our study. Like, we are just women that We all think the same. We laugh, we work hard, but we'll see the good in things. And I
Yeah,
just think for me, one of the best things, aside from the qualification, all of that, is that new friendship, because these are
yeah,
people I would never have crossed paths with had
yeah.
it not been for this course. And that's what I love about when you have those chance meetings in life and then you develop these really great relationships.
Just like you and me.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
there's another thing that can go on your positive aspects list, and you tend to find that you'll start and you'll be like, well, there's nothing positive about it. But if you make yourself just think of one thing,
Mm,
then though there is something else, and then oh, something else will come up. And before you realize that you've written a list of like 10 points about something that you hate or you're struggling with, and you go, oh, actually, and it just lifts your vibration about it completely. It helps you to forget the struggle because again, where attention goes, energy flows.
yeah.
So if you are constantly thinking about, oh, I just want this to be over, this is hard, this is horrible, I don't have time for it, that's what you're feeding. You're giving spoons to that, literally giving
Mm,
spoons to it. Whereas when you enjoy something and you bring your thought patterns into that idea of being grateful for it and enjoying it, you're not spending spoons, you're recouping the spoons. So if you were to sit down and start your next you know piece of coursework or project, and you just take say 3 minutes just before you start to just go over your positive aspects list, you'd probably find you would be able to complete that project or that coursework quicker, easier. It would feel like it would flow so much better because your vibrations around that topic, around that aspect of your life, is much higher than
mm.
what they were.
Love it.
And you
And
can
you can
do
do
it
it
with
with
anything.
anything.
Yeah, absolutely anything. You can do it with people. So if you say, for example, you work with someone who you like, they push your buttons, you don't, your values and their values do not mix at all. You can actually do it with that person. So you just put the person's name at the top of the paper, and then you could go, right, think of one good thing. And again, you might go, I can't. No, I don't want to think of a good thing about this person. But if you can think of one good thing, oh, well, they're very dedicated to their job. All right. And then, well, actually, they're always on time. Okay, we'll put that down, and then to start building this list, you shift your vibration around the problem, the dislike, the low vibrations. You lift it up, and in doing so you find that you start to attract a better quality of energy in and around
Mm-hmm.
that situation. You can do it with anything that you're worried about. You could do it with your financial situation, doing it with your health if you've got health problems, and just literally writing a list of positive aspects about that aspect of your life, about that thing, shifts your vibration and just starts to things just change. And apart from anything, it feels better, which I think fundamentally is what we're aiming for in the first place, isn't it? It just feels better. But again, we get to choose, where we spend our mental spoons. We get to choose what we fuel with our energy, because every time we think of something, you give it a piece of your energy. So I'm thinking of dairy cows right now. I don't know why. Frisians just popped in my head. So I am literally feeding dairy cows some of my energy. I'm thinking about my two kids. Boosh, some energy's going off to them. I'm thinking about I don't know, my other half. I'm thinking, and not just for people, but I'm thinking about my witchcraft course, and I'm thinking about doing the shopping at the supermarket later, and I'm thinking about my crystals on the windowsill. Every time you think of something, a bit of energy goes off towards that thing. Now, it's a bit of a two-way valve, because if you think about something, that energy that you are feeling while you are thinking about it automatically pings it, like a magnet pings back into you. So if I'm thinking about, oh, I'm meeting up with lovely Helen today to record some podcasts, so I'm sending you some energy for a start. I'm sending the podcast some energy. Now that stuff all makes me happy, so
Mm-hmm.
actually I get a spoon back from that. I get a nice bit of positive energy coming back in that makes me feel even more motivated and more excited about the situation. I look at my crystals on the windowsill and I love them, and they've got some of my favorite pieces on there. And that automatically feeds some energy to them. And because they make me happy, I get some back. I get, oh, there's another spoon come back for me. Look at me running in spoon credit. Woohoo! All that lovely energy coming back in. I have a spoon overflow. But then if you think about stuff you're worried about, so say for example, oh, there's a big direct debit due out on Friday and I haven't got the money in the bank, and where's the money going to come from? Whoosh, instantly vibrations drop. You feed some energy into that negative situation, and all you get back from it is more negative energy, low feelings,
Mm,
low vibrations, more anxiety, more worries. Now, I'm not saying that we all have to completely ignore all of our problems. That is not what I'm saying at all, because, well, we can't. Otherwise, we would find ourselves homeless and jobless and very poorly very quickly. Um, but we can't allow ourselves to continually give spoons to things that aren't working. So if you do have, say, that financial problem of the direct debit coming out on Friday, no money in the bank, okay, you think about it and you go, okay, right, well, it's that old thing. Is worrying about it going to improve it? No, it's not. So what can you do anything on a physical level? It might be, moving money around. It might be asking someone for help. It might be um, putting an advert out for courses, or whoever you are, whatever you're doing. Is there anything physical you can do? Great, do it. If there's not anything physical you can do, if you're just literally sitting there hoping for a miracle, well, do that properly as well. Shut your eyes, take some breaths, give those problems to the angels, to the universe, to who the ascended masters, to Reiki, to whoever it is you work with or want to work with or want to believe in out there. Hand it over and just talk to them as if you were good mates with them. It's like, hey, Archangel Michael, really struggling today. I've got this situation, blah, 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 blah. I'm asking for help. And then do that. And then you got to leave it. Then you got to walk away from it. You can't sit there feeding spoons into this worry, because it's going to make you exhausted. You're not going to have any spoons left over to do anything else. Your vibration's going to drop because you've got no spoons left. You feel miserable. And when you've got low vibration, you cannot then you shut the doors on all the good stuff coming. You can't physically attract your solution to your problem. Whereas if you go, okay, that problem's there, I've asked for help, nothing else I can do about that right now. I'm going to distract myself from it. I can't keep feeding it with my spoons. That situation doesn't deserve my spoons. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to watch some of my Netflix program. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to do some housework. I'm going to, sit down and do some study work or actual work. I'm going to paint my toenails. I'm going to do anything else that is going to take my mind away from feeding negative spoons into this unhappy situation. That way your vibration can start to come up, because our natural set point in life is high vibration. We are happy creatures. If we don't have worries that pull us down, we will automatically be happy people. And I think in our crazy crackers world, it's hard to remember that we are all happy people, because we focus so much on what's going wrong that it's hard to see the stuff that's going right, and we become a little bit numb to it.
God, that I mean, I resonate with all of that, and I absolutely love it. And I keep a diary actually, but I also have another pad by my bed, and I'm going to change it. I'm going to change that into I'm going to do these lists because I think you're right. So already, I'm going to think about spoons. I'm going to write these lists, which is a similar exercise if anybody's ever done the Secret is one of the exercises in there. Actually, it's a similar type exercise. Yeah, I'm going to do that because I think that's a really, really good thing. So, Shelley, you're great at giving us these ideas.
And
And
it's
I
not
think as
even
well,
me. I don't take credit from it. I just go, universe, give me an answer.
I think as well, not to feel guilty. I think our biggest thing in life is we all feel guilty for so much. And actually, we've just got to stop it because, like you say, it's a choice. So if I do decide to sit and watch that TV program and then I start thinking, oh, I've wasted half an hour, I've chosen to do that. So stop feeling guilty about it. I've made the decision. Whereas if I've decided to get up and go for a walk or whatever, that's also my choice. So I think we have to be accountable to our choices. And yeah, that's maybe where I need to shift my balance. So, God, already some top tips, Shelley. Some top tips. I love it.
And it's just picking up on what you were saying there about guilt. It's the horriblest feeling, guilt. It's really, really It's just not nice, and it's not even a real emotion. I don't believe humans actually came onto this planet, or wherever we came from. um I don't think we were meant to ever feel guilt. We were meant to feel love, and yeah, okay, we were meant to feel hate and anger, and we were meant to feel happiness and excitement, all those different emotions. But guilt is just like, where did that come from? It's awful. And the guilt, basically, when you feel guilty, you are saying, I'm not good enough. You are giving
Mm,
your spoons, your power away to a situation or a person. And you're not, guilt is the opposite of empowerment. I think you've done something or you haven't done something, and then you give yourself a hard time about it, which again feeds that situation with spoons. And guilt doesn't achieve anything. It doesn't make us feel better. And it just eats you up on the inside. It's a horrible, horrible feeling. And we can feel guilty about stuff that we've done this morning. Like, for example, I was up and I've got a million things to do today. And I made the choice, went into the kitchen, made the choice, right, I could prepare some nice scrambled eggs and fruit for Tabitha. Or I could whack some chocolate spread in a wrap, throw it at her as I'm, flying to put the washing out and do everything else. And we went with chocolate spread and wrap. It is the summer holidays. Um, but then, there is that little bit voice in the back of my head going, what kind of mother are you? Chocolate breakfast. She should be having fruit and protein and blah, 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 blah. And I'm going, I know she should, but, if I don't get some work done today, we're not going to be able to buy the bloody eggs. So it's
Yeah, I hear you.
gonna
I
just do it.
absolutely hear you. Um, I have got Lily's got a friend sleeping over tonight, so last night. So rather than doing the whole thing of she's going to go home and she's obviously going to say, "Oh, I slept at Lily's." So my daughter and her friend, they had croissants for breakfast with chocolate spread,
Nice.
rather than scrambled eggs or a nice healthy fruit. I was like, look, we're all in this together.
Yeah,
I'm sure that they have that at home as well. It's holidays. I'm exhausted.
yeah.
That's what you're getting.
Yeah. Have it. I mean, you know what? This kid's waking up without breakfast at all, so it's.
Absolutely.
And I think as well for kids, I mean, they move so much, don't they? Like, and especially when they're little, I
Yeah.
mean, Tabby's just 10, and like, she can't stand and have a conversation with you without her arms being in the air or her knees up by her nose, and she's doing some sort of dance or wiggle. Helen is just watching me as I perform some sort of dance thing. She's literally, she's talking to you, doing the splits on the floor and turning around, and you're just like, can you not just stand still for a moment?
Yeah.
Um, she's on the sofa beside you, and before you know it, she's like upside down, and her legs are over her head. And what are you doing? Shoulder stand? Well, of course, because this is what we do on a Tuesday morning. Morning. Um, they move, so that's a justification for me. But it's that guilt, and guilt comes down to shoulds and musts again. It's, I
Mm-hmm.
should have done something better. I should have been a better mum in that moment. I should have been better, and
Or
that,
worrying how others may judge you.
yeah.
And that's just silly because they're all worrying as well about how they might get judged. So actually, the cycle continues. And if we all stop judging and worrying,
Yeah,
the world would be a better place.
we would have nothing to even think about. Everything would just flow. No, if you weren't worried about the fact somebody somewhere might be going, oh, that's not what a good mom does. Oh, that's not what a good work person does. Oh, fancy that. If you think about everything that stresses you out in your life, how much of that is actually fear of judgment and fear of rejection, fear of, when you
Yeah.
compare yourself with other people. And social media is horrendous at this, isn't it? Because, you look, and one of the things for me is parenting, because, and I think any parent that actually that tries to, work at the same time, single parents particularly, trying to work, trying to raise a child, trying to manage a house, trying to breathe and have a life, you've got to pop to the toilet at some point. And if you get sleep, well, lucky old you.
Yeah. But even when you pop to the toilet, they still follow you in.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
daughter's a teenager and she'll still be, if she needs me and I'm in that toilet, she walks in. I'm like, bloody hell, I'm just having a wee. It's my
Yeah.
sacred time, please.
Oh, they're all the same. But it's I've lost my train of thought now thinking about you on the toilet.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's not a pretty thought. That's all I can say.
Do you know what I do on the toilet, Helen?
What do you do?
I
Don't tell
med
me you
I
meditate. Oh!
meditate. I meditate and I talk to the universe when I'm on the toilet.
You fit you fit meditation in bloody everywhere. Oh my God, that's phenomenal. Well, I've never meditated on the toilet. Maybe that's where I'm going wrong.
That's your first homework, your first challenge for this week. You know what it is though, because everyone complains about the fact that they don't have enough time to meditate. But everybody, I think, just about on this planet will go to the toilet first thing in the morning and go last thing at night before you go to bed. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, if when you're in the toilet, you just take a moment to put your hands on your tummy or on your heart or over your eyes is quite nice as well. And you just take 3 deep breaths.
I've definitely got time for that.
Yeah, but you know you can't get up before you finish, can you? You know, if you just take 3 deep breaths, it just resets everything. You know what? 3 deep breaths are like a miracle, magical mini. I don't know what, but it resets or starts to reset your all your different chemical levels in your body. So if you've got all your stress chemicals flying off, 3 deep breaths will just slow down the production of all of those and start to let out some of the good chemicals. If your hormones aren't balancing in the way that they're meant to be balancing, 3 deep breaths will just regulate the production of everything, your heart rate, blood flow, all the different squishy bits on the inside. 3 deep breaths will just settle everything. And it's said, so when we breathe, if we breathe in and then breathe out, spaces in between. So if you breathe in and then you're meant to hold for just a moment, not like you're holding your breath, it's like just a pause and then breathing out. Now, my favorite bit of breathing, I can't believe this, I know I sound like I'm a nut job done. My favorite bit of breathing, my favorite bit of breathing comes just after the out breath. So you breathe in, you hold for a moment, you breathe out. And if you just take a pause before you breathe back in again, that little space is the most peaceful feeling ever. I love that little space. And it's said, there's like, I don't know who it is, they're like Tibetan monks or something. They believe that is the space after the out breath is the most healing space. And if the longer you're in there, you don't age when you're if you're not breathing, if you're like, you've breathed out and then you just pause, apparently you don't age.
Wow. Well, right. We all need to be wanting to try this then. I love it. I'm going to definitely try it.
Well, I don't
I
have
do.
wrinkles, so I must say.
I was actually just, you know what? Are you psychic? I was
Am I
literally,
psychic?
well,
Have you seen
actually,
how
yes.
many decks of
Yeah,
cards
no, it's
I've
true.
got?
And I've had readings from Shelley. And actually, I'm going to mention that in a minute because it's just brought 2 thoughts into my mind. But I was just looking at Shelley then. I mean, obviously, you can't see us, but I'm looking at Shelley. And I was just thinking, bloody hell, she's not got one wrinkle on her forehead, not one. And I
It's
think we're the
it's
same age, aren't we? Are you
a
44?
44, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, so we're the
44.
same age. Shelley's not got one wrinkle, not one. I'm telling you, it is smooth as anything. But the thought that came to my mind about Shelley and her readings is, so Shelley does do readings and cards and things. And Shelley gave me a reading, God, quite a few months ago now, wasn't it? Was it back at the start of the year? I think it was January, February time.
Was it before your birthday?
It was before my birthday, I'm sure. And that was in March. I can't remember when it was. It was a few months ago. But anyway, lots of things came out of the reading, one of which was this podcast. But 2, I've said to Shelley, my dream job, I love my job, don't get me wrong, but my dream I can't speak. My dream job is to be a motivational speaker. And over the last couple of months, I've had the opportunity to do these presentations on behalf of an actual motivational speaker, present his work. And I just did the last one last weekend and it was phenomenal. I loved it. It's only half an hour I'm speaking for, but I just feel like I'm in my element. It's everything I love and adore. And I got some feedback, and the first feedback was somebody had written, when I saw the program and saw this communication stuff, I was just so put off. However, it was the best session of the day. And it's little things like that. And it gave me fire in my belly. And I just thought, I love it. And I suppose what I'm trying to say is, having had my reading and Shelley sort of confirming, really, if you want something to happen, it can happen. I've put my energies back to where you were saying, the energy flows. I've put my energies into how can I make these things happen? And I've made new contacts and opportunities have presented themselves. And rather than question it or think about it, I've just said yes. So I shouldn't have done the last one. Somebody else should have been speaking, but unfortunately, they were not very well. So because somebody else had watched my previous one, they said, well, Helen, can you come and do it? So I thought, well, rather than question it, I'm just going to say yes. I didn't even know if I was free. I was like, yep, I can do it. So I suppose I'm just trying to say to everybody that, Shelley's readings are amazing. So if you want Shelley to give you a reading, do reach out. But B, don't be scared of sometimes just saying yes and then thinking about it afterwards, like the what ifs, that, or how can I make this work? Actually, sometimes the first hurdle is just saying yes. And actually, the rest will just come. And although it's only been 2 sessions of what I would love to do eventually, it's given me that taste. So that fire in my belly hasn't burnt out. Actually, it's grown. Just now's not the time for that in my career. But that's not to say it isn't in the future. And the whole time, these experiences are opening doors with new contacts, new people, new opportunities. So I know I've diverted slightly, but it's more about, I suppose, us all knowing out there, we can make our dreams happen or work towards things. It might just take a bit more time.
Absolutely. But it comes from that decision. And I guess the whole thing is, if you don't believe something can happen, then it can't. It's about actually deciding this could be a possibility. Things could change. It is possible, and I don't know how, but it is possible that I can do this, that I could get this, that I could be this person. You got to believe it's possible, because if you don't believe, then, well, it's just not going to happen. It just physically can't come.
Yeah. Oh, I think that's a nice way to finish, don't you?
Yeah, I think so too.
I
Oh,
think
I
it's
feel
been
all
really positive.
tingly and floaty. Ooh.
Well, I don't know about our listeners, but I'm certainly going to be investing in my thoughts around spoons.
A beehive.
I'm all bees, yeah, bees and beehives. I'm already thinking I need to get you a spoon. Have you ever seen? You've probably been given them by other people, but when people engrave them and stuff like that.
Yes, there's a
So
lovely
I'm gonna,
stall at Tynemouth Market does those little magical messages and swearing messages
yeah.
and
Have
that.
you
No, I
been
love them.
given
I
one?
do not have one. No, I
Oh my
don't.
God. I'm going to have to find you a perfect message and send it to you. Because Shelley and I live in completely different parts of the UK.
Literally
So,
the opposite ends of the UK.
yeah. I'm right down south and Shelley's right up north.
No.
But it works really well. So I'm going to find you a spoon, Shelley, one that I
Oh,
think's got the perfect message for you, and send you a
fantastic.
spoon.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much for tuning in today, my loves. And yeah, we will be back next time. And next time, I think we're going to be talking a bit more about vibration and things like that, aren't we? Manifestation, vibration, miracles. We have lists and lists of stuff that we want to talk to
Yes,
you about.
gratitude and all things like that, which I love, 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 love.
So thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next time.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.